Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now we are still seeing resistance in the daily RSI for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has also broken this short-term line of support, but we have not seen much volume backing up this move. And later in this video, I'll be talking about the US dollar currency index, the US stock market, and some other important Bitcoin charts. So definitely stick around to the end of the video so that you don't miss out on any of that important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight into what this video is about. It's right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the daily time frame. And first of all, just quickly reminding you of our short-term support and resistance lines. So our support on the daily time frame is coming in at around 35k, and our resistance is coming in at approximately 40k. And then looking in the daily RSI for Bitcoin, right now we are still finding resistance along this descending line of resistance, and that is coming into play at around 37. And currently, at the time of recording this video, the RSI is coming into play at around 34. So as I've mentioned time and time again, if we are still finding resistance here in the RSI and still forming lower highs, then obviously in that case, at least in the shorter term, the RSI is still in a downtrend, which means the Bitcoin price is most likely not going to see a major recovery while that is happening. But once we finally see a breakout in the daily RSI, which will happen eventually, then when that finally happens, it would be more likely at that stage for Bitcoin to begin some sort of recovery. But as of right now, we are still currently waiting for a break above that descending line of resistance, which we haven't seen just yet, but that is something that I would be paying attention to moving forward. Because closely linked to that, we have a very similar descending line of resistance in the Bitcoin RSI on the 3-day time frame as well. And I won't be spending too much time on this chart because I have gone more into detail about this chart in previous Bitcoin update videos. But basically, all you need to know is we've actually seen somewhat similar things to this, at least a downtrend in the 3-day RSI, time and time again throughout Bitcoin's history. And it's usually when the Bitcoin RSI on some larger time frames, like the 3-day chart, for example, starts breaking above this descending line of resistance to begin forming a new uptrend. At that stage, that is usually when the price also begins forming some sort of short-term uptrend at the very least. So as I just said, for the daily chart, right now we are getting very close to a possible breakout here in the 3-day RSI, but as of right now, we still haven't seen the confirmed breakout just yet. Now zooming right into the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, this was the pattern that I talked about at the end of yesterday's Bitcoin update video, and you can obviously see here that the Bitcoin price broke to the downside, which technically means that we should be setting a price target to the downside, as I mentioned in yesterday's Bitcoin update video, and that possible price target would be coming in closer towards 33,000. But also, technically speaking, we need to see some more volume coming in here to back up this break to the downside, which right now we are not seeing. So if Bitcoin's volume remains quite flat, then just be careful, because on low volume, we are at higher risk of volatile moves and unpredictable moves, because on lower volume, it is simply easier to manipulate the price of Bitcoin in the shorter term. And also between now and 33,000, don't forget we have this major support at around 35,000 first. But even then, we need to see some more confirmation, some more volume coming into play. Otherwise, as I just said, we are at risk of a possible fake out. And basically, for this to flip bullish again on the 4-hour time frame, we need to break above this line of resistance, which is coming in at approximately 38.8k, give or take. And also, don't forget that we have some pretty heavy resistance at around 40,000. And now taking a quick look at this Bitcoin chart right here, this is the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and this indicator is the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index on the same daily time frame. And what this indicator tells us is pretty much how the majority in the market are thinking and how they are feeling on any given day. So for example, if we see a lot of bullish price action, usually we see the majority of the market in extreme greed, which is basically when everyone is bullish, everyone is euphoric, thinking that prices are going to go up forever. And usually during some of those time periods, they are some decent times to take some profits off the table. Of course, that is not financial advice, that's just telling you what this indicator means. And on the flip side, looking at these red zones right here, that is when the majority in the markets are in extreme fear. So basically, during these time periods right here, that is when we've already seen a lot of bearish price action, and the majority in the market are thinking that we're just going to continue crashing to much lower prices. And once again, generally speaking, during those time periods right there, they have proven to be some of the best opportunities to pick up some more Bitcoin and hold for the longer term. Once again, that is not financial advice, that is just telling you what has happened time and time again throughout years worth of Bitcoin price history. And as of right now, we are technically in one of those opportunities. We are sitting in extreme fear. And if we're looking at these other time periods where we were sitting in extreme fear, just measuring out the amount of time that we spent during those accumulation opportunities, in that first opportunity back there that we saw in 2020, we were sitting in extreme fear for approximately 1.5 to 2 months. And so now looking at this next example, which is what we saw in the middle of last year, in that example, we were sitting in extreme fear for around 2.5 months approximately. So out of what we've seen in the past, we spent around 1.5 to 3 months approximately in extreme fear before we then finally begin to recover. And what's very interesting is we also see something similar in the greed, as you can see, when we're sitting in extreme greed back in this example at the end of 2020, leading into the beginning of 2021. We were sitting in extreme greed right there for around 2.5 months. And then in this example, during October, we were sitting in extreme greed for around 1.5 months approximately. So if we are simply going off all of this previous data, we should be expecting perhaps extreme fear for around 1.5 to 3 months, with an average of around 2 months to 2.5 months approximately. And if we are measuring from the moment we saw extreme fear, which is the dark red right here, as of right now, we have been sitting in extreme fear for almost exactly 2 months, which, believe it or not, is pretty standard stuff for Bitcoin. Now, it's important to mention that nothing is guaranteed in these markets, but if we were to continue to see somewhat normal price action for Bitcoin, then possibly within the next 1 month or so, it really would not be that crazy to see a bottom form and some sort of bullish price action begin to play out, at least sometime during the next 1 month approximately, based on all of these previous data. But once again, I want to make it extra clear that nothing is guaranteed in this market, so just because we saw something in the past, it does not guarantee it's going to play out again in the future or anything like that. But if we're looking at the US dollar currency index on the 3-day time frame, we have almost met the price target out of this W pattern, which is coming into play at around 97.7 approximately. And what is interesting about that level right there is if we're bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this high up here at around 103 down to this swing low at around 89 approximately, what we have is the golden pocket, the 61.8% Fibonacci level, which is the most important Fibonacci level, coming in at that exact same price target. So that could act as some major resistance for the US dollar moving forward. And if we do see some major resistance on this chart and potentially begin another downtrend, then that would be very bullish for Bitcoin, because while the US dollar is in this uptrend, that is actually more of a bearish signal for Bitcoin. And also something else to point out here is the fact that we are forming higher highs in the price action, but lower highs in the RSI, which is technically forming a bearish divergence right now, but this has not been confirmed as of right now. So basically, if we do see a rejection from that golden pocket or somewhere near there, and then if we close a red 3-day candle, then that would basically confirm this bearish divergence. And in that case, obviously that would be a bearish sign for this chart for the US dollar currency index, but that would be very bullish for the Bitcoin price against the US dollar if the US dollar begins falling again. And also, by the time you're watching this video, the US stock market would have already opened, and depending on how the stock market performs, so mostly the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500, that would likely influence crypto prices in the shorter term. So of course, if we continue to see a dump to the downside in the stock market, then in that case, it would be more likely for Bitcoin to play out some more bearish price action. But if we continue on with seeing some more green price action in the stock market, then in that case, that would heavily assist Bitcoin in potentially forming some sort of recovery. And if you want to keep up to date in the crypto markets at all times, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And right next to that link, you'll also find a link to my new Instagram if you want to get bonus content over there as well. But anyway, if you found this video useful or simply enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. As always, I appreciate all of your support in the channel at the moment. I can't thank you enough. And before you click off, you might as well check out one of these uploads if you haven't already, because even if crypto prices are going to the downside, these videos can potentially help you make more money in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.